Hello and welcome to a special edition of Wolf's Words. In this edition, I'm joined by April and Matthew Abide, and we'll be discussing their experiences of homeschooling. So I'm going to try and summon my inner Dick Cavett to lead this discussion. And young people, if you don't know who Dick Cavett is, Google him. So Matt, how many children have you educated in the Abide homeschool, and what grades are they?
We have 9 children, 6 of public school age. We only go through K through 8th grade. But with that, having 3 younger siblings, learning is a natural form where they want to be a part of those siblings, just a natural progression.
So April, what do you have to do to legally homeschool your children in Arkansas?
In Arkansas, you have to fill out an intent to homeschool form and turn it into your local school administration.
And that's it. Then you're free to teach your children.
You're free to teach your children after that.
Okay. So Matt, what led your family to homeschool?
Well, I went to public school, but the thing about it is you have this child, and then with very little time, you send them off. And then you work, and then you come home, you very little time to go back and put them to bed, and also you never see them again. And so the benefit of homeschooling is that you actually, with your child more often, you know them, and they're part of me. And so you can bring out what their strengths are because you're so invested in them.
So April, describe to us a typical homeschool day.
There is no typical homeschool day. That's the beauty of homeschooling. However, we do try to start in the morning all together with our memory work, and then we move on to math and English and reading and writing, where I sit one-on-one. One kid may struggle with the math concept that day, so we spend a longer time with that child, where one may move quickly through their reading lesson. But that's the nice thing about homeschooling, is I get to have their education tailored to the individual child.
Great. So Matt, what are some of the challenges of homeschooling?
One person has to stay home and teach your children. One person has to work and provide. It requires great communication on both halves. Both are sacrificing. It's hard to do both, so you have to put one person in charge of that. And so I think the most difficult thing is you have to sacrifice more. You give up certain things just to provide for your children.
So April, what resources do you and Matt rely upon to support your homeschooling efforts?
The resources we rely upon are St. Thomas Aquinas School out in California. They helped us really get kind of the flow, everything that the kids needed. Angelicum Academy also, Saxon Math, Shirley English. We also do field trips to museums and places in the area. But there are a lot of resources within our family and our house. For example, one of my kids was having a hard time with fractions, but she likes to bake, so we started baking more. Another child had a hard time with percentages, so we went shopping cells. And it makes it where they can see it more, live it, and then they learn it better.
That's great. It really resonates with a metaphor I like to use for homeschooling, and that is that the homeschooling parent is the conductor of the symphony. He or she doesn't play every instrument, but they make sure that the beautiful music happens by coordinating and accessing all of these resources, online resources and curriculum resources in the community. I mean, Northwest Arkansas is just chock full of opportunities for things like theater and art and field trips and such. Mm-hmm. So Matt, critics of homeschooling claim that schooling children at home interferes with their social development. How do you respond to that charge?
Typically, I've never worked in an environment where I've had 20 people the same age as me in a room together. There's people in different ages, older and younger. I've had bosses who've been with me for a long period of time, but every year in public school, a child has a new boss every year. So those things are really different from the natural world. And also education is about educating with socialization, but in our home, there's socialization every aspect of every life.
So, and because you have 6 kids, there's plenty of socialization there.
Yes,
I had three sisters growing up, and boy, we socialized a lot.
And you have to give and take, right?
Sure.
You older ones, they have to be responsible, of younger ones, and vice versa, and follow orders and chores. So realistically, and they have to work through difficulties, and you're there coaching through those difficulties.
So finally, April, what would you say to a family considering educating their children at home?
I would first make sure that they have both parents on board, because you need the support of the other parent. Also, I would tell them to do it, to take it year by year and not look at it from 8 to 3, Monday through Friday. Look at it ongoing, even through the weekend. It's a neat thing when you sit down with your child and you watch their brain open up from something you're teaching them. It's just, you're learning your child at a deeper level.
And to think, for 50 years, from 1900 to 1950, you would be sent to prison for doing what you were doing for your children, educating them at home. It's wonderful that we've gotten beyond that, and we are more broad-minded about parental involvement in education.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, April and Matt Abide, for joining me for this special edition of Wolf's Words. I enjoyed this conversation about your delightful homeschooling experience.